Good. It's not a Monday morning. It's a Tuesday morning from the teacher's desk. I know it says Monday morning down there, but as I was typing it out, I was like, well, I guess I could put Tuesday in parentheses. But it was holiday weekend, and I didn't figure the teacher's desk on a holiday Monday would be good. Also, when I was ready to do this yesterday, we were up in Iowa at the in-laws, and everybody was sleeping, and I thought it would be kind of loud if I started talking at 5 in the morning and wake everybody up. Probably not a real great way to end what was a really fun weekend up in Iowa. Kids got some big fish with Grandpa. The Hawkeyes won, so that was a good start to the season. For me, Kate was just excited about the Hawkeye win too. And yeah, no, it was a really, really good holiday weekend. I was actually talking with my mother-in-law, Cheryl. The Facebook post here came up. And I was talking a little bit, and she said, "Oh, one thing I always liked when I went to workshops or went to PD or something was when I could take something away and I could use it that day or I could use it that week." And it got me thinking about talking this week about something that I think probably everybody out there is doing in some form, or sometimes like I do it and then summer happens and then I forget what I did the year before or 2 years before, and then I'm reminded of something and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good job when I did that. I should do that again. So I just want to talk briefly about recognizing students today and just how important that is. And I think it's done in a million different ways. But when I started teaching, one of the things I did to recognize students publicly in my room was I made a bulletin board. And it might be the only bulletin board I've probably ever made, but I did. I made it in Newton, and I made it my first few years here. And the bulletin board had 12 different categories on it. And every month the newspaper came out or there was a yearbook deadline, I would update this board. And I would have a story of the month, photo of the month, design of the month, headline of the month, cut line of the month, funny thing that happened each month, 110% award, things like that. I wanted to do this for two reasons. Number one, I wanted to do it because I wanted to recognize good work that was going on in the room and publicly acknowledge those kids. The other reason I made those categories was for the things that I wanted my students to focus on that year, I wanted to make sure to give some extra emphasis to it. So if we were really not good at writing headlines, then I would make sure to put headlines as one of those categories up there to get them focused on that. One year, I know lead writing was something we focused on, so one of those categories I made was lead of the month, and then I'd put up there the big lead of the month. And then what I did, to take that a step further was, if they got up there for story of the month or design of the month or cut line of the month or whatever, they would be in the running for story of the year at the end of the year. And so we have a big banquet at school. It's always at school. Free big potluck thing that we do. And so I would take, those 9 photos of the month and the 9 page designs of the month and the stories of the month, and I put them all in there, and then at the banquet we would reveal a story of the year or a photo of the year, and things like that. So again, another little extra incentive, and I tried to rotate kids on that board as much as possible, and it really was a good motivator for many of them to do that. Now, I don't actually do the boards anymore. Room got bigger, things grew, more kids got in here, my time got eaten up, and I don't actually have that. So the bulletin board it's a good idea. I really, honestly, the more I sit here and talk about it, the more I need to bring it back, because it's a pretty good idea, and I liked it. Things we're currently doing though this year, maybe you've seen each weekend posting on Instagram, kids holding bowling pins. I know it seems very weird. I'm not exactly sure how the idea came up either. I know Jordan Keel and I, tag team partners here, she's got the yearbook now, and we were talking one day, and it was a way to recognize students. Her dad owns a bowling alley, and so I'm like, oh, maybe your dad has some bowling pins laying around. I feel like this is how the conversation went. Anyway, but she started it last year. Each week then, once we got the bowling pins, she would have the staffers. She gave the first bowling pin away, and then each week that staffer would pass the bowling pin on to somebody else in the room for whatever reason they wanted. They couldn't be in the same section. as that person was, but they passed it on because that person created something neat, or they were nice to them, or they were helpful, or whatever it was. And so then they would pass the bowling pin off, and then they'd get to sign the bowling pin with a Sharpie and everything. And Jordan got around to doing it last year. I had my 4 bowling pins for my hours. I didn't get around to it. I finally did it this year, though, and the kids love it. They really, really do. Jordan said they loved it last year, and I just didn't take the time to do it. And I did this year, and it's great. So it's like a fun little, quirky little, why do we have a bowling pin here? But I just got a note from a kid over the weekend who was talking about, I asked him, like, what's been the best part of your first 4 weeks of school and everything? And, anything under the sun, what is it? Meeting somebody new, something you've created or whatever. And one student wrote and said, it was the week that I got to have the bowling pin by my desk. And every day it reminded me just how great the room is, and made me feel really, really special. And then she, in turn, really enjoyed passing that off to somebody else. Now, years ago, I remembered that back in Newton, we had I did something similar. See, sometimes I said at the beginning of this thing, you do things, and then sometimes you forget about them. But I went to the dollar store, and I bought this garden gnome. It was a quirky little guy. And we did a very similar thing, but the garden gnome would be passed around to people for things they did well. He was kind of the room mascot and the motivator, like, who's going to get the garden gnome to sit by you? I don't remember the name. I feel Andy Bogart, who was on staff there, was trying to come up with the name a few weeks ago, but it was a very long name. I don't remember, but the kids loved it. It was really like the room mascot. It was like the room pet that we didn't have to feed or take on a walk, and it was good. So we've done that. The kids have also, in the room, taken some of this on themselves for ownership, and they've done paper plate awards. I know they've picked that up from other schools, different places. I think they went to nationals and heard about that on one of their sessions, where at the end of a production cycle, at the end of a month, they get paper plates, very cheap, and they decorate the paper plates, they write awards on them, and then all the staff members get an award at the end of the deadline. And that's a great way for, staffers to be recognized by their peers and kind of keep that motivation going on what it's going to be. And so I think there are a million ways to do this, from, connecting with kids, giving them a pat on the back, talking to them, sending them an email or a text or whatever it is, putting a little Post-it note on there or a sticker or something. But I think some of these ways that we can recognize students publicly in the room, all students, as we know, there's different ways to motivate them. Some are motivated by grades. Some are motivated by telling them they did a good job on their work. And some are motivated, 15 other ways. So anyway, when you're out there this week, if you want something practical to do, take a look at what are you doing, or what is your staff, or what is your room doing. And I think this really can be applicable to any class out there. I mean, you could do the same thing for things you're focusing on in the English classroom or your speech classroom, or maybe even in a science classroom, like somebody who turned in a really neat lab report, or I don't even know what I don't know what their class is and what you're turning in exactly, but I assume it's the same types of things I have. You have maybe some bigger projects that you want kids to focus on, as well as some smaller components of those things, and you could just as easily make your own board or highlight some of those different things so that kids focus on that. So anyway, Monday morning ramblings on a Tuesday back in St. Charles. Lot to do this week. But I'm excited about the week ahead, and we'll be mentally preparing the entire week for the Iowa-Iowa State game, which is coming up on Saturday. It's a night game. I'm super excited. I'm going to talk about it all week. I even got this new shirt to wear on Friday. It says Beat State. I've never gotten a shirt like that before, but I found it on the way to the game on Saturday, and I was like, I got to have this shirt. So I got a Beat State shirt coming that I'm super excited about on Friday. I'm going to wear it to school, and then I'm probably going to go home and wash it and wear it to the game on Saturday too. So anyway, that's all from here. I hope you have a great week, and if you got some ideas on things you do, I'd love for you to actually share in the comments below. That would be really, really cool. What things have you done, or what did you do to kind of recognize students publicly in your classroom? Share it out on this one. That'd be great. So thank you all. Have a good week, and see you next Monday.